PR Woman of the Month for January. 2026 is still fresh, and we are going global. So we are reaching out to more women across the world to know more about their skills, their expertise, and their passion for public relations. One of the reasons why we feature great women for the Public Relations Women Foundation is so that younger people, especially female, that wants to start a career in public relations and they're looking for these resources, and maybe they've even started their career, they're feeling overwhelmed, they're feeling tired. This video will be a resource for them. It's like an archive where they go back and watch these videos, and they have perspective, they have direction, and they can practice the profession and deliver great results. That is why we feature women across the world for the Public Relations Women of the Month. It is a monthly feature for the 12th month of the year, and it is credit based. So we do our due diligence and research and reach out to women that will say, wow, you're doing a great work and we would love to talk about you, to know more about it, our communities to know more about it, and for everyone in public relations, especially female. We know that it is really competitive. Yes, and we want more women to be part of leaders in the public relations and communications industry. Thank you so much. I'll just go ahead and read your bio.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So, Mafue Forchu is a seasoned public relations and corporate communications professional with close to a decade of experience leading high impact communications initiatives across corporate, consumer, and institutional sectors in Cameroon and internationally. She's the co-founder of ImageNation PR agency, a creative public relations and branding agency based in Cameroon, where she serves as key account manager and lead corporate and entertainment PR consultant. In this role, she oversees strategic communications, media relations, and the execution of integrated PR and branding campaigns for both established organizations and emerging startups. Mafue holds a MSc in corporate communications and has successfully managed the end-to-end delivery of over 100 communications campaigns across local and global markets. Our portfolio includes work on high-profile consumer and corporate campaigns, notably for Pernod Ricard, TotalEnergies, Access Bank, CAF, the Tony Elumelu Foundation, Biaka Groups, other professional service firms, and fast-growing startups. She is very skilled in narrative development, event management, multi-channel communications, stakeholder engagement, and brand positioning. In addition to her agency work, she currently leads PR and communications for the African think tank, where she contributes to promote positive narratives of Africa's potential and contributions on the global stage. She also advocates for policies that support the development and empowerment of Africa and its diaspora. Her background in journalism, combined with bilingual expertise, led her to several media collaborations, including a collaboration with CNN on the interview of African football icon Samuel Eto'o for the Change Makers program. She has also played a key role in shaping the entertainment PR landscape in Cameroon and has worked with upcoming and top entertainment faces in the country, including Blank Bali, Olanda, Fibil, Koshi, who she supported to sell at a 10,000 capacity venue in 2025. Beyond client work, Mafue is a strong advocate for equal opportunities, digital inclusion, and skills development. She regularly facilitates digital communications workshops and webinars for women, entrepreneurs, and intrapreneurs in Cameroon, supporting capacity building and professional growth. Thank you so much for joining us. That was one very great bio. And thank you. I saw the part where you're very invested in equality and women empowerment. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Actually, it's an honor for me to be here because definitely everything that is being done at the Public Relations Women Foundation is literally a big part of what I try to do every day. So this really feels great to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored to have you. So, we just want to know. I know you have a background in journalism, but do you always know that yes, I'm very attracted to public relations, or it's just something you stumbled on? You know, some people from a very young age they said, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an engineer. Was that something you wanted to do at a very young age, or you just came about it and you said, yeah, this is the profession for me? We would like to know that.
Actually, this it wasn't any of that. When I was growing up, and even in my secondary school studies, I'm a pure science student. I was going towards a career in either medicine or engineering. But at some point, I always say this, and it feels weird, but I had a dream, and I was a PR person for a top company. And when I woke up, I started trying to figure out what is PR. And I did realize that everything that I was already doing in my everyday life, I was not a typical science student who was always in books and doesn't like maybe go to events or network with people. I was really out of place in the science class, but I used to do well academically. So I feel like this dream was sort of telling me that what you already do in your everyday life, this is the career path that literally that fits. And so that's how I changed my course of study in school from mathematics, because I was doing mathematics at the university and I moved to the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication. And then after that, I did a master's in corporate communication, like focusing more on the PR side. But it wasn't something I imagined ever in my life, but it was something that when I started, I realized kind of came naturally to me, the kinds of things that I would be interested in. I found out that this was the path to follow.
Oh wow, I can imagine you doing mathematics. That would have been a lot of calculation. Oh,
Yeah, I
oh
know.
wow.
I mean, I'm still really great at math. Like I do all the agency's money calculations, but it just felt at home. I remember when I moved from Department of Maths to Department of GMC, I remember just feeling like I finally found my place. Like it was fun, it was interesting, it was challenging. My creativity was on point. Everything was just fell into place.
Oh, wow, thank you for sharing that. And I think it's one thing for young people to take initiative, that if your passion is drawing you towards something that comes naturally to you, I think it is important that young people grab it and explore it.
Yeah.
So thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. Yes,
You're
I
welcome.
know we read on your bio some of the great campaigns that you've worked on, but can you tell us or walk us through some successful campaigns or projects you've worked on?
Okay. There are so many, but I will start with the first one, because I think this is something that can help other people who are just starting, to have the courage and not give up. I mean, for over 3 years when I started in the PR space, I was literally working pro bono. So I would go to like artists or to people. If I see maybe an artist putting out a song online, I'll write them inbox and say, okay, I can help you, with the PR on this project and all of that. And I worked for free for about 3 years. Sometimes some people will give me something, but I don't know. I just kept pushing. And then one day, the brand, I was at an event, and the brand manager for Pernod Ricard, who was our first client, was there at the time at the event. And I was just saying, we were just talking about what we can do, and she said, I'm going to give you a chance, right? And that just taught me that no matter what you do, put yourself out there. One day, even if it takes 1 year, 2 years, someone will give you that chance. And then I took that chance, and that that campaign was the True Music Challenge campaign, the first one in Cameroon. And it ended with like a full event competition, and we had Fally Ipupa. Fally Ipupa is like one of the biggest African stars, and the whole time I was like, how do I do this? But we would every day with the team, we would just come up with new ideas. We really had a great brand manager who literally held our hands to guide us as well, and we did it. I remember not sleeping for about 3 days, and and then then Fally Ipupa was in Cameroon, and we were having a press conference, and then he was performing, and everything about the campaign was just coming together. And I remember at the end of the day, even with all the sleeplessness, I made no money on that campaign, nothing at all. But that was the campaign that gave me business for like the next 4 to 5 years. So what another lesson I learned there was, sometimes, especially when you're starting out, you would maybe sacrifice. You may not make much, but what I was really keen on in that particular campaign was making sure that I deliver, and I deliver extra. It was an opportunity for me to show what we could do and for people to be able to see us, and that's what that campaign did. And it also helped with like the music scene in Cameroon as well. It brought to light some really great artists, some really great DJs, and we did that campaign for about 3 or 4 years. We've had 3 or 4 editions in Cameroon, and this has helped to discover a lot of talents, and just create an ecosystem that's apart from the regular stars, like your actual talents on the street, and that has created a narrative around the brand that hired us. So I really like that campaign, that first campaign, because I always remember it. And yeah, there's a lot of firsts. I would also think about the Tony Elumelu campaign, which we did in 2024, which was to help to amplify the messaging so that female entrepreneurs in the green sector could apply for grants. And this was really great because we got to go to the different communities, meet with women, because as women, yes, there are certain challenges that we face in our careers and in our entrepreneurship journeys that, to be honest, men cannot understand. We don't have the same, we don't have the same challenges. So this was also a great campaign that allowed us to go to the field and meet these women and discuss with them and share ideas. And really, so most of the campaigns that have big impact like that are the ones that stay most with me.
All right, thank you. As you were speaking, I was like, 3 years you were doing pro bono. What kept you going? That was what was on my mind. What kept you going?
So I think so. I'm sure PR is relatively new in this side of the world. I know maybe other countries like Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire are a bit more advanced, but if we go back 10 years ago, everywhere on the continent, this was kind of something that was new. So everybody is used to marketing and sales, but it took a minute for people to understand the added value of PR. And I think even till today, most PR professionals have that, challenge sometime defending, why we are a key, support for organizations and individuals. So that's what kept me going, because when I started, I think at the time there was just one other PR agency in Cameroon, one or two, and these other women, and interestingly, these were two really powerful women that I still look up till today. And what they were doing, one, gave me the energy, the motivation to keep going. And secondly, the fact that we all realized, because we used to have conversations about this, that we need to work together to make it, something that is respected in the country. And so today I'm really happy when I see so many other PR agencies, so many other, PR girls, or even PR men, but PR professionals in general, because more and more now people understand, oh, this is what this is what this brings to us, this is what this adds to us. So I just knew that this was something that was necessary for our ecosystem. And I had really great mentors to look up to. They're two amazing women that I still follow till today. They still hold my hand. So so that kept me going.
All right, thank you for sharing. Because I was wondering, young people of today, when they want to do a job, they're thinking of the monetary side. What do I gain? What do I gain? But like you said, for the industry to push forward, it is beyond just monetary gain, at immediate monetary gain. It is advocacy. It is actively pushing the messaging that public relations is important, as well as marketing and sales. But public relations is important for sustainability and the longevity of businesses. You talked about working with other women that have agencies. I want to know, how do you collaborate maybe with other teams, other agencies? Maybe you have a brief that you think that I don't think I can do this alone. Do you collaborate with other agencies? Do you bring someone on board to collaborate, to work on briefs?
Yes, we do. Yes, I do. Because like we're the world is global now, for example. So sometimes you have campaigns that cut across countries. So that's one way that we collaborate. We collaborate with agencies in other countries, but even with local agencies, we all have different strengths. And I think even within my agency, for example, I do have two other co-founders. And one of the things that brought us together to start one agency was our different strengths. So I really believe that you cannot know everything. You may not be strong everywhere, but when we have situations, we receive some briefs, and maybe even just like the volume of the work, we're like, no, this cannot be handled by one agency alone. We reach out to partner agencies. Maybe they are more skilled in, I don't know, graphic design than we are, and we are more media. And so we see how to come together to deliver. So I really believe in collaboration, both locally and, especially because we're in a global world. So if I have to do a job in Nigeria, yes, even if I move to Nigeria for maybe a year, an agency that is based in Nigeria would definitely have insights that I wouldn't have, and vice versa. We've collaborated with a lot of Nigerian agencies that have to do work in Francophone Africa, because we do speak French. Cameroon is a bilingual country, so we have French and English. So we have been able to collaborate, especially when it comes to adding to French. And so yeah, I feel like even culturally, and depending on whose strength is where, collaboration is really, really important. I don't think, as they always say, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, it is very true. Yeah, if you want to go alone, business wise, personally, you go alone. But if you want to go far, far, you take others, or you move with other people. Yes, I know you mentioned that the challenges that men face are not the same with the challenges that women face. We just want to know, what are some of the most challenging parts of working in public relations and communication, especially as a female practitioner and an agency owner?
Oh my God, I can talk about this for days. But first of all, some of the challenges. So we are in a very fast-paced space. So campaigns can go, in fact, they're not predictable. So there's the aspect of time. This is both as a PR and as an agency owner. So there's that time aspect in terms with how you balance your work and your family, because, for example, a lot of events maybe on the weekends. So personally, as a PR person, you may be really free on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, right, when everyone else is at work. But then from Thursday to Sunday, you're out, because you have back to back. Maybe there's events here, there's a lunch here, there's an award ceremony here. So there's first of all the challenge of balancing, what is expected of us as women at home, and the timing, the agency timing. And then there's also the fact that in our industry, there's still a lot of male uh, dominance, especially in leadership positions in communications. So usually you would find, usually in the communications department, for example, the director would be a man, then maybe the community manager, the graphic designer, the media, the influencer manager, those will be ladies. And then but the top management is still predominantly male. So what happens is, on the field, the women still get a lot of pushback. Like there's situations where you go on a set, and maybe the photographer would not listen, will not take your directions. He would wait for for the male boss to come and say the same, and you're like, I just said that to you, and you didn't. Yeah. So, man, or your authority is not as respected as the man's. And yeah, just trying to balance, because honestly, I'm being your PR, that it gets crazy sometimes. So it kind of always looks like you're always partying, and one gets that is actually a lot of work, right? So it feels like you're not a very serious person. And for women, we know women in general, it just feels like you're not supposed to have too much fun. So there's that. And yeah, and also, what else would I say? Yeah, there's and then there's also, and I think this is in all industries. There's always where people think that you, just because maybe you look fine or well put together, um you're not there in a professional capacity. So there's also instances like that, especially at events or things like that. But I think that more and more these things are changing, and it feels like the work that we have put in is is yielding some fruits.
Yes, I can relate because as a mom that works remotely, it's as if you're not doing any work and you still have to shuffle a lot at the same time. And it's like, are you not just working from home? Like, people do not understand that you're actually doing it, you're actually working, and taking care of a family is another work on its own. But I would say the perspective of people is that women are supposed to show that it all without even complaining because it's not too much work.
Yeah.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
it's a major challenge for women to even, and after giving birth, getting back to work. I think it's really not an easy transition to get back to work, because you just realize that you were very sharp and you could pick things before, but currently you're forgetting stuff. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah, so I can actually relate to what you're saying, because I'm talking from my own personal perspective.
Right. Yeah.
After childbirth, getting back to work is like you're starting from scratch, or you're trying to get things in check and you're still trying to family. I don't think there's actually any balance, because at the same time you're managing so many things at the same time.
So many. And
So
one
many
of the
things.
things we so interestingly, our agency, and this was not intentional, but it just happened. Uh, my agency is predominantly, women staff, and so we try to help with some of these things. We do have options for people, to come to work with their kids. There's like a bed,
Oh,
there's a room where the kid, yeah, because we have to understand, and apart from just seeing what the challenges are, we try to figure out how do we work around, so sometimes, for example, we make sure we do alternative work from home and work from the office, because people need to take care of their families. And for example, if people work across the weekend, we make sure that during the week they get the same number of days off, just so that we can create that balance. And I really need more of us to have conversations like this, so that people understand that our work looks glam, it looks fun because people see the pictures and the reels, but it is a lot of mental work as well, because media don't just show up to an event. There's a lot of, like you say, due diligence, making sure that they're aligned, with the brand, making sure that the key messaging is right. All of that are things that people don't see often. So they would see the end result, which is the event. They don't see the about maybe 3 weeks of intense brainstorming and figuring things out and negotiating costs and that go behind all of that. So we really try to create a balance, because like you said, sometimes during pregnancy you'd feel like your brain is gone. like I've gotten to that point personally where if I don't write things down, I don't remember. So so yeah, it's really, I don't know. I don't know if men do have the same. I don't think so, but yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And kudos to you and the workforce for implementing policies that make it easy for women. Thank you. Thank you so much. And big up to Image Nation. That's a great one. Thank you for sharing. So yes, you earlier stated that the impact of public relations in Cameroon is not as felt as some African countries, for example, like Nigeria. Even in Nigeria too, we are still pushing the adoption of public relations. We have experiencing public relations, a conference we hold annually, and the core objective of the conference is so that more business leaders know about the impact of public relations. Because if we professionals are the ones saying you need public relations, they really do not listen. But a business leader or an executive that use public relations will be able to explain more. So back to my question. How do you think that public relations practice in Africa is different from other regions in the world?
Okay, first I'll say, first, because it was new, people are taking time to understand the impact. And then secondly, the values in different parts of the world, or I will not say value, the environments are different, right? So, for example, in other parts of the world, people are at the level of comfort, right? Of personal comfort, where their decisions about products and services can be made based off the company's PR. So what do you believe that the company is a good one or not? But in some parts of the world, we are still at the level where people cannot afford to make decisions just based on whether this is a good company or not. They still have to consider the price. They still have to consider whether it is available in their area, So I feel like the environment and the different levels at which communities are the main difference in how PR is practiced across these two markets. Because if you're operating in a market where whether you do CSR or not, whether you're eco-friendly or not, the decision on whether people use my product or not is based off how much it costs. And I'm in a market where, people don't really care too much how much it costs. They care that it's eco-friendly. They care that it's animal, no harm was done to animals, in the making of this. So you see that the environments are at different stages of growth. So we now practice, PR differently. So we may do some of the actions may be similar, but there are some actions that would not really mean much. Because if you notice, there are certain actions that companies who do that in this side of the world are global companies who have that in their global requirements. But on top of that, they still need to do different, actions that are adapted to the local context. So I think that the main difference is that each local context is different. The Nigerian context is different. Cameroonian context is different. Here in Cameroon, we have majority French speaking and, about 20% English speaking. So you need to adapt to that. we have over 250 ethnic languages, for example, and so many different cultures. Each different region in Cameroon has a different culture. So when you come, when an international client comes, one of the things that we will tell them is that, okay, yes, this is what may work in your side of the world, but here you need to adapt. Maybe what you would do in one city is kind of different because people think different, their cultures are different, and it's very important in PR practice that it's not a one size fits all. It needs to always be, adapted to the local context so that it actually gives you, the effects that you want. So I feel like the main difference is that we are at different environments are at different levels in their economic or social lives, and that makes it different. So
Okay,
for
thank you.
example, I'm just thinking, like, for example, in Cameroon, media is paid for. But in most first world countries, that is not the same. If the story, rhymes with the journalist or it aligns with the media house, they cover it. But when you come here, it is still a service that has to be paid for. Even if they're going, and paid for doesn't mean that they only write in your favor. Paid for means that you need to pay for the space to do that. So then some clients come here and they're like, oh, this is too expensive. Why is it? But these are the different reasons why.
All right, thank you. Even in Nigeria, media is still paid because it's still paid for. Because if you invite them, they might not say it up front, but you have to give them something to even come in the first place.
Yeah.
So I totally get. And I just remember this ad about Apple that Mother Earth came in and they were trying to say they are protecting the earth with their product. And it aligns with CSRO, preserving the environment. Yes, it's eco-friendly. Truly, what they focus on in other regions of the world is different from what we focus in Africa. And
Yeah.
like you said, price is a major determinant if I'm going to buy a product.
Yeah. So I mean, the only, maybe when it comes to the people who may be free from that kind of is when it comes to maybe entertainment, like artists, actors, actresses, movies, because these are things, I mean, they kind of have standard prices. But when it comes to like consumer, or maybe B2B may be the same, but when it comes to consumers, I mean, it's great to do your PR, maybe to do your CSR, but when people walk into the supermarket, they are looking at, okay, this is 100 and this is 200. I am taking 100. Whether this 100 company has never done CSR in their life, they've never done, they make their choices based on that.
All right, thank you for sharing. So we want to know, how do you stay updated with the latest industry trend and best practices in public relations? Putting in mind that public relations is ever changing, it's a very dynamic industry.
I mean, now in the age of the internet, it's kind of easy to regularly check. I am subscribed to a few publications or a few platforms, like Coms of Africa, formerly Nigerian Women in PR. I think both on Telegram and on LinkedIn. These are platforms that regularly share, updates on different campaigns people have done in other parts of the world, so you can learn, see innovations happening in other countries. So I really try to be a part of any network of professionals, so that, because on these platforms they always share, updates, and you can connect with people in other places and you can reach out to them. And I always ask, so what's happening now, apart from the regular, I mean, all the digital platforms regularly, share what the updates are. But there are professional, I try to be part of as many professional platforms as I can, whether be it for social media managers, for PR, professionals, for corporate communications professionals, because these platforms are a tool that help me all the time. Sometimes I just go in there and I just read what, people are doing in other places, and I'm like, oh wow, this is interesting. How can I, implement this? If I have questions, these platforms a great networking tool. You can sit and, I do have, from these platforms, I've had people in Kenya, in South Africa, East Africa that I have never been to, that I'm able to reach out to say, okay, I'm trying to do this. And, what do you think? What are you guys doing now in your area that I can learn from? And vice versa. People also reach out. So I think professional platforms and, if you newsletters are a great way. Apart from, I always maybe just go and search on the internet what's new, what are people doing. But being a part of professional platforms that have other professionals has really helped me learn a lot and keep myself up to date.
Okay, thank you. Then lastly, our last question for you. So a mid-level professional is saying, what skills do I need to grow to move from mid-level to a more senior role? What skills do I need to develop? What are things that I need to know?
Okay. First off, I would say as a mid-level, you have all the, I would say, technical skills. But I think what differentiates that from that level to the next is developing certain soft skills, your negotiating skills, your networking skills, especially networking skills, because and I'm just saying this from personal experience, is that once you have all the skills, you can actually do the work. You need that extra, I don't like to say political, I don't like to call it political, but some sort of diplomacy that allows you, to network and enter the higher level rooms. There's some assertiveness that those rooms require that you need to build. Like when you walk into those rooms, you have to already build yourself that when you enter those rooms, you act like you belong. Because any indication that you're hesitant or not really sure is one of the things that, even top level directors, when you're doing recruitments for those levels, you're looking at extra soft skills that are not just, how can you manage people, how can you manage people, how can you manage budgets. So this goes above just the regular everyday PR work we do. How can you manage budgets, how can you manage people, how do you present yourself, how assertive are you in what you are saying. I think it's these soft skills that kind of help you move from this level to the next one.
All right, thank you. I hear you, but I have a question attached to
Sure.
that. So yes,
Sure.
for example, somebody is introverted. The person doesn't really like speaking much. The person just wants to get the work done. Are you saying that the person must learn how to effectively speak or confidently speak before they can move to the next level?
You, so this what you just described is actually me. Because, like I said, I have two business partners, and one of them is the person that is always, she's the one who walks into the room and finds business. And before, I would always be the one in the back to just sit, do the plans, do the follow up, do the the workflow, all of that. So I would always be in the back end, but I had to learn to balance it. So I still stay, in my I'm still a bit a lot introverted actually, but for the sake of my clients and for the growth of my business and even my personal career growth, I had to find a balance to make sure that at least I find a way to put myself out there or to walk into the rooms with these people, because people don't give businesses or trust their image to people that they don't trust or they don't really know, because we're dealing with people's reputations and images. And it is key that I don't mean that you have to go out of your way and be at events every week and all of that. You may have to develop your own way of relating to these people. So I do a more, for example, one-on-one approach with my brand managers, because I'm not a very crowd friendly person, but maybe a dinner once in a while, with 2 or 3 people is something that I can easily digest. So I can use that. But I've realized that you actually have to speak up, especially in PR, because we are not, like I said, we're not the first thought. We're always an afterthought, especially in the corporate space, even as an agency, I had to learn to be able to speak up in a meeting and tell the client, I guess I get that this is your idea, but I honestly think that this is what would work. So somehow you have to create a balance. And but there are other things that I do as well. Like after every event, to be honest, I need to stay in my house for about 48 hours by myself, just to just to come back to myself. But you can't continue, for example, to manage people's events if you don't show up at these events, if at these events you don't walk up to them, and say hi. So you have to find a balance, because I honestly, because and like Obama said, sometimes when you walk into some of these rooms, you realize that they're not like extra intelligent. They're just people who accepted themselves and acted like I'm supposed to be here, and they gave them the space to be there. So we have to find a balance. I honestly believe that, because it took me years. I mean, for the first 5 years, even interviews like this, I would ask my business partner to do and just be. And with time, I had to learn to just balance it and put it out there, but still find a way, to keep myself from not going mental.
Oh wow. Thank you for sharing that story, because a lot of people are actually bad to this, showing up, speaking at events or for a very large crowd. Thank you for sharing. Yes, you just have to go out of our comfort zone. Yes, and if we
Yeah,
need some time to refresh, yes, we take this time to
we
refresh.
take the
Thank you
time.
so much. That's
You're
all the
welcome.
questions we have for you. It has really been an insightful session. We are grateful for your time. We don't know if you have any last words or any advice for PR professionals that are currently that will watch the video.
Thank you so much again for reaching out. I really appreciate the honor. I mean, I don't take it for granted. And I would say that the PR landscape is only getting bigger. We're at the stage where as like you just mentioned, you have the opportunity to even be global. So I would encourage anyone, to if you're coming in, please feel free, find someone. There are a lot of amazing women, that I have met on this same platform's Telegram group. I follow all the time, and you see amazing things. Don't be afraid to reach out. We sometimes feel like people don't have time, but when we reach out with clear questions, asking people to share their experience, I've noticed that a lot of these people are really happy to share and help, and hold your hand. And yeah, I would say join any professional networks that you can. Like I said before, these have been very valuable to me. Connect with people, you see what they are doing. These are, I always see, inspiring work. We're in a creative space, so it's important that you always have, things that can make your mind think. And yeah, I think that's it for me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was all for us. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.